I don't really have anything prepared, but yeah, please, Mr. Wallace.
Where will this board meeting be next Monday?
TBD. My number for Nick Sharp is no good, and I haven't heard back from Rex. I'm hoping to move back to Rex's. The board can, and of course I'll communicate with everybody. But within a day or two, we should have that answer. Thanks for putting me on the spot. One thing I neglected to mention, and I did intend to put in here. Oh, are we live? Just in time. I just gave the most inspirational, wonderful talk that anyone's ever heard in a Rotary meeting. And I'm happy. I don't know if you're recording. Okay. I'll do it again. I neglected to mention in here is all the effort that this club undergoes on a yearly basis. Last year, when I was at PETS as president-elect, Julian and I sat in the room and we're talking about how we want to build more continuity in the leadership of this club. Now, with Julian as past president and Karen as president-elect, the three of us are really trying to work together to set longer-term goals. I know that we can accomplish more across several years than we can in 1 year and then reset the clock and start all over again. These two are going to be critical to that effort. The rest of you are going to be critical to that effort. There's so little that can get done when you start the clock over. And I know that committees pass knowledge from one year to the next so that we can learn from past mistakes. I did want to call out and thank Carl Gills. I know he was here. Over 2 years, Carl has been leading the charge to basically figure out policies that the board has decided on that were never documented, to figure out board decisions and actions that were taken that were never recorded properly, so that we start with a base every year and we can stand on the shoulders of those that have come before us. I think that's crucial to the function of this club, the functioning of this club, and to help growth in the future. And again, I really do want ideas. I think that this club has some great ideas. I'm looking at you, Louisa. As late as they may come, some great ideas.
There are always plenty of ideas. They're bouncing around in there now.
I've got ideas too, but I'm not a dictator. I'm here to serve you. And I want to do that as best I can. And the best I can do is by listening, bringing your thoughts, concerns, and ideas to the board, and then bringing them forth to the club at large. So I commit to do that today to you. That's all I have. That's more than I have. Thank you very much. Any other questions? That being the case, then let's move on to good news. We have a hat. What we don't have is a volunteer to run good news. I'm going to look at Chris Hammond. Yeah, exactly. Because he sat right in front of me. Chris, would you mind? Sure.
Sure you mind?
Sure do mind. Okay, our club, we share good news, and all this money gets piled up, and at the end of the fiscal year, we give it away for scholarships. So be generous, dig deep. And
well, I'm here to, if anybody wants to charge it to their bill, just tell me and I'll write it down.
I encourage people to charge it because we get a lot more money that way. All right, Marjorie.
I just wanted to let you know that I have a friend, very close friend, coming into town today. At 65, she had a heart transplant. And this is her very first trip. And I'm picking her up at the airport at 2:40, and I'm so excited. Wow.
$30, please. And I don't have this thought really clearly in my mind, so I hope I don't ramble too long. But the $30 is because I joined Rotary 30 years ago, 1991. And Mark, you just said the first women were in '89. I wasn't the first woman in our club, but I was the longest one there. And I also was in a financial advisor, which is kind of a man's world. And I've always been so grateful to all the men and all the work and the foundation that they laid. We women often get credit for, you know, the advancements we've made, but the men have made that possible. And men still carry so much power, and I'm so grateful when they let us in. And that may seem odd, but they do let us in. And my best mentors have been men, and I'm so grateful for all you men.
You're really good at stepping aside and letting the women volunteer.
Mark, I have some really good ideas to share with you that I'd love to talk to you about. And a little history lesson. We had this guy that was in our club for a long time that now lives in Houston. And every week he would try to play tricks on people by trying to call them on their cell phones. And he tried to call me today. He tried to call Winnie, and I don't know how many other people he tried to call, but luckily I had my phone on silence, but I'm still going to kick in $50.
Perfect. All right, it's coming your way, John. Winnie.
On a somewhat somber note, I just wanted to remember Talia Thomas, who was a member of our club some years ago. She had an asthma attack in Costa Rica and passed away, leaving her 21-year-old and a crying 10-year-old son.
I can add to that. Yes, Talia was very instrumental in the yoga community for sure. And this week at the Yoga Center Steamboat, Fit, the Sundance, Raka, almost every club in town is having donation classes to for her kids, to build a foundation for her kids, money for her children. So if you are all interested in just even donating, go online to one of your favorite clubs or come to a class and just put some money in the jar. We're, as a community, we're rallying behind Talia's children.
Well, I have some good news to share. Our oldest daughter, Norma, just got engaged. We're working on my husband because this is definitely something interesting to work with a man from a third world country and tell him what he's going to spend on a wedding. It's been very interesting, working from all sides. And then on another note, I just wanted to let you know that I've been in constant contact with Suzanne Schlick, and she said, thank you for everybody who's reached out to her. David is now at University of Colorado. He's already had 3 surgeries. He has 3 ahead of him. She's hoping that they've got him stabilized, that he will be able to have his surgeries and be home sometime within the next 3 to 4 weeks. They're having their house made handicap accessible because he will be in a wheelchair for 3 to 4 months. But keep sending her notes because she really appreciates it. And Ange, can you put me down for 50?
Thanks, Lori. Yeah, what happened, Lori?
It's actually very sad because he was ski jumping in Park City. Actually, wasn't jumping, he's a bumper trick skier. Yeah, and he was in the park and came down and had landed from his trick and took his skis off and was getting ready to walk off the airbag that's there in case they have a fall. And some wind came up and the airbag was faulty and picked him up and threw him 60 to 90 feet in the air. And he came down, he actually landed on his feet, but then the airbag came down on top of him. And thank God for the spectators and David being really strong. And he kind of army crawled and everybody dragged him out of there. And he broke everything basically from the 2 low vertebrae in his back all the way down to his femurs, his ankles, his tibia, his fibia. So they had to get him to the hospital right away and just stabilize him. And so now, like I said, he's had 3 surgeries in Salt Lake, and now he's at University of Colorado. And the best thing is that the kid has great attitude and is wickedly strong. But sending notes to Suzanne means a lot.
Good, thanks, Lori. Hazel.
I'm trying to know how to shift gears following that. Winnie, thanks for mentioning Talia. She's an absolute force. So my good news is that I went to Alaska and I brought back 160 pounds of fish. And probably the highlight of our trip was I went to the Rotary meeting in Kodiak, Alaska, which happened to be at the hotel I was staying at the one morning I was there. So the universe said, you go to this. And they welcomed me. I was shocked.
Hey, Paula.
So I only have big bills, but first, welcome, John. Glad to see you. Nice that you're quasi back home, at least for a little while. I had a great 4th of July weekend. I did, for the first time in actually quite a few years, I did it all. And then at the end of the day, I was done in all. So I have a lot of healthy respect for all of you who every year do everything. The other thing I will say is that when Rotary Accepted Women, Jack Black, who was a founding member of this club, came home so excited and said, we voted to have women in our club. And I said, that's great. Who quit? And he named the 5 people who quit.
It wasn't me. Here? Jillian?
I feel like you want me to talk some more. So I just wanted to say it's really nice to be in this seat, and it's really nice to hear your speech. I think it's going to be a great year. Yeah.
Thanks, Crystal.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be back in Steamboat from Texas. Weather here is so much better. And my real good news is my husband, Steve, and I are celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary tomorrow.
Yeah. Here. Rich.
If I can stand up. This is kind of fun because I have been a Rotary member, I checked yesterday, 44 years. Whoa. And this is kind of fun this time where we have our daughter, son-in-law, and there are 2 little people out visiting us until for the week. They're from Denver. And then in 2 more weeks, we get the big gorillas coming in from Chicago to be here. So I've been a member a long time. I was the president 150 years ago, before Bill, probably. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying our new prison. It's great.
Thanks, Rich.
Did you say president or
It's just a 1-year sentence, Mark.
I just quickly want to mention my good news. I have a few milestones in my career throughout the year, and getting through July 4th is one of them. So I'm $20 for that. And I want to thank the community for this July 4th as well. I think we got through the critical point, wise, parade-wise, community-wise, and I look forward to seeing the parade on you.
Well, and 53. But that is adding a couple just for them. Maybe like 20. I would just like to thank our community for sure for Talia. Near and dear to our heart. I would also like to thank Chuck for being on, answering every phone call for my in-laws who were at Muddy Pass and were evacuated last week. That was a stressful week. So Chuck was on speed dial at our house. And I would like to congratulate my oldest daughter starting her first real job as a real estate agent in Denver starting this month. So if you need an apartment in Denver, I can help you. She can help.
Mr. Avisa. Oh, Paul.
I just wanted to say we really received some good news that we have such a high vaccination rate in Steamboat and in Round County, much higher than many other places. And I think we're really fortunate to have the great staff who have promoted this and allowed us to really get ahead of the game. Unfortunately, there are a lot of countries in the world that have not had the luxury of getting the vaccine, and they're really suffering. And we have a former employee who worked for us in Kenya, who fortunately has been, when she's been, she has not gotten COVID, but she's been struggling to maintain her three boys who are 8, 16, and 21 as a single mother and being very sick. And we've been trying to help them out. I think thinking of service at least for one family that we can help out in Kenya. And they've been able now to move into a house, renovated the house, and we've helped the 2 kids get through high school and the other through college. And I think that we have given some funds to help this family, I think of it as service, and I think as a Rotarian, we can do small things that often have really big impacts, and it may be only on one family. But I think the encouragement that Mark has given us for looking at new ways of being helpful to our fellow world people. I mean, not just in Steamboat and the community, but all around. And I hope that we can come up with some really great ideas of how we can use our power as Rotarians, our strength, our financial strength, and our moral strength to help in any way we can to be of service. That's all.
That's it?
That's it. Let's make $50 for that.
Okay. Perfect.
Chris.
Yes.
Will you ask people to introduce themselves so that
Oh, you just did.
The past president has a telling member, I think, so.
Yes, I second that. It's great to think of. I think this crew is very creative and
What'd you say?
Martin. John, it's so good to see you. Mark, thank you for that. I am very inspired by that, and it is why I joined Rotary, because this crew can get stuff done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll try to make this really quick because it's kind of a story. My oldest son came to town this weekend with his girlfriend, who is they've been dating a year, and she brought her parents. So it seemed kind of serious, right? He brings the parents. Well, turns out her parents are really fun. And her mom, Karen, she was about this tall, 105 pounds, and a great time. I learned this Saturday night after a full day of 4th of July festivities, and we went to Opry Burger for a burger, and we go to walk up the deck, and there's this lovely adult table of about 20, and they're going to take a picture of themselves, and she photobombed a big high kick. I won't do it because I can't do it. Her leg ended up about right here, and I was like, wow, that's something. And these people became her new best friend because she photobombed them with this high kick, and I was like, wow, you're pretty flexible. She's like, oh, that's nothing. And she dropped down in the middle of the restaurant into the splits. And I'm like, I don't think I can compete with that. So I'm pretty excited.
Eric.
That's great vision.
just process. That's good. There's a lot of fun in the future. Mark, I just said that I'm inspired, man. I'm excited. You got some. You're getting the juices flowing, and Paul, same thing. So we have a brand new shiny dunk tank just sitting around in storage. You guys have any ideas? I'm open to setting that thing up whenever, whatever. I try to raise some money, dunk, Corey before he goes on and retires. There's things to do at a club, right? Chuck, we're going to dunk you. So dunk a high-profile Rotarian. Yeah, easy. But there are a lot of other great ideas. And, I really do thank you for stepping up and reinvigorating the club after, such a last year. I'm just teasing. We're on a roll, and our club is awesome and really fun. Sign me up for $15. We're coming off of a super fun weekend. It's always fun for us. Our son Jace was born on the 5th. He is 15 years old now, and I will warn everyone at 9:15 this morning he got his learner's permit. So you will see one white-knuckled adult and one Jace Rabisa cruising around town for the next year. So that's our new reality. Pretty exciting.
What kind of car is that?
Right now we know it's the Highlander, Samantha's car, a white Toyota Highlander, but soon we hope to get his the little Porsche 914 back from some work. So that is a mustard color Porsche that some of you guys may have seen that Samantha inherited years ago, which really just means it's a major project for us. But we're going to get it back, and Jason's going to learn how to stick shift, which is it's a really hard shift. So lots of gear grinding, rolling backwards, frustrated, and then
back to the shop.
Yeah, then he'll get behind the wheel after that, because everyone grinds the gears on that thing. So anyway, good fun.
Potential future client. Hey, Jim.
Me? I already am a client. 2 or 3 times. John, good to see you. I just wanted to say to our president, I remember my first day behind the podium, and I know that June 30th, 2022 is like a long way off, but it goes very, very fast. So I want to wish you the best, and I'm just so happy that you've taken the reins, and best of luck for your term in office.
Hey, Matt.
I'm Matt Kipton. We had a lot of jokesters in this club, of course, and Philip Boland, who's logging in from online, he tried to call me as well to play the same stuff. But in good news for him, he, if many of you may not know, but he got married last weekend in the Grand Canyon. So sticking somebody in for Philip.
Thank you.
Steve Jensen down for $10. I'm happy about a couple things. I'm sorry about the way I'm dressed, but I just hiked down from Rabbit Ears where we were looking at wildflowers. The rain really helps. They look spectacular. A couple things we're excited about. My wife and I went on a Colorado adventure trip and went down and saw Black Canyon of Gunnison, and West Butte, and Marble, and Salida, and did a whole bunch of hiking and socializing with some friends. It was a great time. We got together with some of the guys up in Evergreen, outside of Golden Boy, and played poker with for a long time. And we had a poker and scotch drinking night, and I won, so hey, and I was really excited. And next week, my wife and I are actually heading off to Michigan and then to Chicago to pick up our son's property to move him toward law school. So I'll be gone for the next 2 weeks, but great to be with all of you.
Karen.
Congratulations, Mark. It is a pleasure to be supporting you during the next year, so you're going to do great. I also want to say a huge thank you, to this gentleman here. And Dr. Harrington was a huge support to this community during COVID and what he did for public health and the hospital. And I would like you all to stand up and give him a round of applause.
and you deserve it.
Kathy Elliott, and put me down for 10, please. I wanted to say what an incredible changing of the guard it was last week. It was probably one of the most fun and really, really, not that they all have been there in the past, but it was really great. And congratulations to you, Jillian, for a tremendous year. And Mark, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to run with this club and continue to build what Jillian has done. And then Karen will step right in right behind you, and we'll keep climbing higher and higher and doing great things. So I really appreciate you. Dr. Harrington's rock star. Look forward to the service above self. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Wow, what a great club. You guys, I don't even know if you realize what you have here. Over the last several years, I've probably been to 15 Rotary Club meetings in different places around the world, not necessarily around the United States. I've been to 4 international conventions, and I have never, ever, ever in any of those meetings seen a club engage like Springs Rotary Club engages. So congratulations to you. Congratulations, Mark. You're going to be an awesome president, and I can see just great things continue to happen. Ange, would you put me down for 100? Oh, I don't have an account. So this is what semi-retired looks like. It's not bad. Really, from afar, right, being in a metropolitan area, Houston, during the COVID thing, being able to look back at Steamboat and see what's going on here while we were there is really, again, a testament to the community, but a testament to people just like Ryan Harrington and the many medical people that really put their lives at risk and did just so much to make sure. How many cases in Routt County? You remember?
Well, I should ask our public health director.
You remember? Let me tell you, I mean, it's almost like it's maybe yeah, very, very small. You want to know what it is in Houston, right? So to have these resources in a small community is amazing. And when you talk about service above self, you guys are in fact the epitome of that. So continued success to the Steamboat Springs Rotary.
Adam?
Adam Wilson, I'll put it in 20. And, you know, Mark, I was thinking when you were talking about people that may not have been as engaged in the last year, I kind of, you know, looked in the mirror at myself. But, you know, I think I did myself a disservice by not being involved in last year and hearing about the Zoom meetings and how incredible they were. And how much effort you all put in. So, to those of you who are like me that maybe weren't as engaged in the last year, you know, 2021, 22 is a new time. Also, thank you. I got a lot of people last week asking me how my hip was doing. I broke my pelvis in December. Doesn't sound anything like what Suzanne's son's dealing with. But I am fine, fully recovered. Just be really careful on right of way. It's a dangerous, dangerous run. Hopefully I can make it a whole season.
Chris?
Thank you. I just want to say thanks to Jillian for her past president and the years she had with leading our club, and I really did think we came a long way for having to deal with COVID and her presidency, so she did a great job with that. Mark, congratulations. Thanks for the words earlier. And John, it's great to see you again. We have a tremendous history. I joined the club in '94, and I'm not sure you joined before you was close. So anyway, I love this club. So we're both glad to. Thank you.
Ian?
And put me down for 20, please. Yeah. Yeah, I only got a new one here. So I got some notes. Mark, yeah. Glad you're coming in. Good speech. I'm a big fan of we're stronger together because of our differences and pushing things forward in progress and celebrating our strengths. Rather, and we have a lot of them here to celebrate. So, and Jillian, thanks for a great year. That was a really fun year in the midst of a lot of challenges. So, well done there. I want to thank the Grand for the red, white, and blue Independence cake. That was delicious. We went camping at Rocky Mountain National Park. They have one site up at Sprague Lake that is accessible, semi-accessible. It's about a half-mile pack in and out from where you park. So I drove to Fort Collins, picked up a young man with epilepsy. We came back here, got our accessible vehicle, drove to Dillon, picked up a double amputee, young man who's double amputee with drives a power chair. We went down there camping, and it was just the three of us. And we're packing in. We had a wagon behind the power chair, and we're all loaded with gear. I had 2 dogs. I got Zoom, and he ended up pulling me, whipping around these corners with doing power slides, hauling gear back and forth. And it was pretty fun. The second day, I wore my shirt that says "Not Your Inspiration." So the conversations were a little different than the first day because everybody was like, "Oh, you're active," and it was just a slightly different conversation with that shirt. And I didn't realize until the end of the day that it's because I was wearing that shirt. Not your inspiration. At any rate, moose in the little lake every day. The biggest elk, I've seen some big elk. And this thing was like that animal of Harry Potter. It was like a $6 million man when it left the fence. And it was just a monster. It looked surreal. It was pretty. I had to sleep in the truck every night with dogs. The moose were friendly, and they were there before we got there. And the tourists from all over the world, wonderful people, trying to go to the hospital and get stomped to death. They were coming up really close on this elk and these moose, and it just made me nervous. You know, I kept telling them, those animals will hurt you. They're not bullwinkle. So that was good. I wanted to say a couple minutes. That was, please tell, Suzanne knows I'm here. And I've reached out, but please encourage Dave to get a hold of me. We've got equipment, we've got all kinds of resources. I would love to support them as much as we can. And on that note, there's another gentleman that we're working with in the community. A lot of you know him. He broke his neck on the mountain a few years ago. He's quadriplegic, and he's really hurting right now for attendant care. So if anybody knows anyone who is interested in his paid position, paid job, he's the boss. It's consumer-directed attendant services. So he works with people to set the schedule. It's full-on eating, dressing, bathing, full-on attendant care. But he's really looking at getting forced into an institution if he can't find some people to come in and fill his schedule and provide attendant care. So if anybody has any ideas, please get a hold of me on that. And yeah, that's what I got. Thank you very much. Oh, I want to say something about John Sentner. John Sentner told me, or reinforced for me and taught me how we support each other as Rotarians. It means that we all step up and pull our own weight. It doesn't mean we lean on each other. It means we don't focus on sort of, again, the deficits versus the strengths. It's how we all fit together and we all support each other by stepping up and pulling our own weight. So, thanks, John.
Brian?
I'm Brian Harrington. Thanks for the kind words. I'm so done wanting to talk about COVID, but I do need to say that we've each had our challenging journeys through this past year and a half, and there were many times when I kind of felt I couldn't give anymore, and it was kind of at the end of my well. But for me, this was a Rotary year. I mean, there were many times I thought about what Rotary meant, and I kind of thought, interesting, this places. And I even specifically thought about the 4-way test at times. It just seemed like this, you don't always choose what you do to get help others, but sometimes you feel you're in a spot and you just have to do it. So I felt that my Rotary background actually really played to it. And I appreciated the support that many of you, I knew you all support me, but direct messaging. So I wanted for some time to say thank you because you guys were actually a source of strength for me this year. I want to make an introduction, continuing on the theme of public health. I have a guest and potential member. Check my box. I'm first line leader. Curtis Smith is our public health director. years ago, we had no public health department here. Many years ago, the state had mandated some things, but it didn't really happen in the counties. But then 2 years ago, the county stood up its own public health department. So at that time, Carrie Ledrow, 2019, started making plans for how we would deal with TB cases, how we would assess community needs, create health programs. And then the pandemic hit. We slogged our way through the beginning of last year. And at that time, also, in the stood up the health department, there was this great idea that Moffitt and Route would join forces, economy of size, because we kind of share resources. Made a lot of sense at that time. Hasn't made sense going forward. And so last spring, after kind of get to the initial phase of things, our department of 2 became 0 again. At that time, Carrie Ledrow decided just to focus her efforts on Moffitt, and I chose to retrench and just work with Route. So here we are in June, middle of all this stuff, and we needed a new public health director. And I know internally we thought, boy, we're never going to find anybody. Lo and behold, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Roberta is a past recipient of a Rotary grant for polio. Her first part of her career was with the immunization department at the Carl Department of Public Environment. She even took that grant and went to Africa, I believe, working on polio, so really neat connection. And then from there she went to Children's Hospital. She has a background as a specialist in industrial hygiene. She ran the occupational health and infection prevention department at Children's Hospital. And she's actually nationally known for industrial hygiene work. We got her. And so last July, she had to hit the ground running. And it kind of takes a special person to do that and stick it out. And so I'm honored to introduce you to Roberta Smith. All right, good news. I have confirmed, it is true, it is not hot here. It has not been hot here. 2 weeks ago I went to Phoenix. It's hot. 115 degrees. I went to the apartment shop with my daughter today. So I think this is good news. I have 2 kids graduate from college, but I still got 4 in school. So my daughter Taylor is going to do a graduate program in athletic training at Northern Arizona University, and that's what we're doing in Phoenix. My son Charlie graduated this spring. He got branched aviation. He's going to fly helicopters in the Army. However, they let a few cadets go to grad school. So he's going to go study computational science and engineering. And he made his dad proud. He's going to Harvard. So he's that's my good.
So, Dr. Harrington, is it okay for us all to share a microphone? Like we've just been doing.
Don't touch it. Wipe it off.
What did I want to say? I want to say hi to John Zettner because I love John Zettner. And I love what Ian said that John taught him, that we all need to do our part. I thought that's awesome. That's good news. And Mark, awesome today. I love being here and hearing inspiration and getting excited again about being part of Rotary. I guess my anniversary of Rotary, 11 years this month, and that's pretty cool. I would say this has been by far the best group I've joined since I've been at the Steamboat. And I have to thank Dan Bonner because I grew up in Rotary. My dad's a morning Rotarian, and I thought it was stuffy and not for me, and he kept encouraging me, and I kept coming, and I finally applied, and it has been so fun. I've met the best people and I've been part of so much good service work. So I encourage everyone, like Mark said, invite somebody, bring them in, let's get more people involved and bring them into our community and serve the community. The other thing I wanted to say was thanks to Lisa for bringing Donovan Frankenreiter. It was so much fun on Fridays. And also my daughter, who I now have a 2-year-old, a terrible 2, is a pistol, and she turned 2 on July 1st, so we're celebrating that. Kathy Elliott said, I have a 2 and a 3-year-old now, so she said, it's the terrible 2s, the 3 majors, and the fucking 4s. And if you're here, we put me in for 30.
And the swear jar?
Wow.
a fine program?
It's a great idea.
Last but not least, I think I forgot what my good news was. I only have an hour for lunch, so I don't stick around very often for this. This is fabulous. 2 weeks ago, I had the honor of a lifetime when I officiated my niece's wedding. A lot of you have met her because I've tried to introduce her to particularly strong women, and that's what we have in this club. I somehow made it through that entire ceremony without crying. Cannot make it through a Rotary meeting. I'm not a religious person, but I'm telling you, Roberta is a gift from God. The fact that we were able to find her in the midst of a pandemic is truly a miracle. And it is because of her and Dr. Harrington, but I've thanked him a lot publicly. It is because of her that we are meeting here today. Thank you.
I'm Chris Hammond. Ange put me down for 38th anniversary.
Ange put me down for 44.
Whoa.
Because that's how long Rich has been a Rotarian. Oh, it's also my birthday. This is from Philip. He's participating virtually anyway. Ange to put me down for $23 for good news, $10 for being married for a while, 10 days on 6/26, and $13 for my stepson becoming a 13-year-old teenager last month. Welcome Mark as our new president. Looking forward to a great year. Also, I'll be by to visit in August, 8/10 or 8/17. Can folks introduce themselves as well for the benefit of new members?
Thank you to C. He said you're doing a great job.
So it's a little known that 13-year-olds are physically incapable of smiles. Oh wait, oh my God. Thank you for your help. I know I'm making you do this. But I'm excited that you're able to see this important part of my life. As part of my good news money, Roberta, of course Brian, thank you both so much for everything you've done last year, for everything you do for this community. I know that it's not always easy. I know that when the camera is pointed at you, it's not always in the best light, but know that we appreciate you. Thank you. Adam, I want to thank you for standing up and saying what you said, because I think it's important for people who have been less engaged to hear that it's okay to come back, that it's important to get re-engaged, and that you're welcome. We love having you here. Thank you for coming back. I'm glad you're doing it. Steve Jensen, I don't think I have ever won at Scotch drinking. I certainly never win a toker when it's combined with drinking. It'd be a great invite for that little club if you want to take all my money. That's all I had for good news. Thank you all for coming. 1:28 and 20 seconds, not a bad start. But as we wrap up, I just want to apologize again to our online participants for the hiccup at the beginning of the meeting. It won't happen again. I blame the 13-year-old. It was definitely all my fault. Next week, our program is also TBD. So when I'm asking you for ideas to send to Joanna, I really mean